Welcome to Beauty, Cocktails, and Girltalk, Marla. I am Shruti Sadana. I'm one of the co-founders here. And this is Naomi. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I do a lot of posting and producing work for Heybeauti and just have an all-around good time.
So,
nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too. Just to kick it off with our signature question, what is one beauty product that you can't live without?
Oh, that is such a hard one because I feel like that really ebbs and flows for me, depending on what my main issue is. For the moment, I would say right now, there is a skincare line. I don't know if you guys have heard of her. Her name's Sonia Dakar. She's local facialist here in Los Angeles, but her line you can get, nationally or probably worldwide, I'm sure. But she has this balm and it's called the Blue Butterfly Balm, and you put it in your hands and you just put it all over your face, and it's really good for old ladies like myself who have very dry skin. That's something that happens too as you get older. They don't really tell you that your skin just gets so dry. It's really sad. I drink a ton of water, nothing helps. Anyway, Blue Butterfly Balm. It looks like it'll break you out, but it doesn't. And it's just it smells so good and just feels so good, and I love it. I'm on my third jar since quarantine started.
I mean, your skin looks amazing. So if you're using it, I do.
Thank you very much. I definitely have some zits from wearing masks that I don't appreciate right now, but we got to do it.
I can't see any, but if you say so.
They're there. Thank you.
If you had to quarantine for 24 hours with anyone, living or dead, who would it be? What would you do? And if you drink a cocktail, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, what would it be?
Oh my gosh, this is a really hard one. Living or dead? I think it would probably... I think I would have a lot of fun if I got to quarantine with Howard Stern for 24 hours because I just really love him. I've always wanted to hang out with him. And I feel like we just have very similar, he would not want to quarantine with me because he's just has that same personality that I do where we just don't really want to hang out with anyone. So I think we would probably just, and I mean that in the nicest way possible. I'm just not the most social person, I try to be, but I'm just inherently a homebody, and I feel like he is too. And we would probably just sit around and he would probably, engage with me for a very short period of time. And then we would ignore each other, but it would just be so cool to hang out with him. And I would definitely have a skinny, spicy margarita.
That sounds good. So, because you sound like you're an introvert, right?
It's interesting because I am and I'm not. That's another thing that kind of ebbs and flows for me. I mean, obviously I am an artist, and so naturally I'm an extrovert and I like to, perform, and in that instance I am. But when I'm the social version of me and just my real self, I really don't like to go out. I don't like to, I'm not a party girl, I don't want to go to the bar. I'd rather have friends over for dinner or just have a smaller group of friends. I don't know why I'm like that. I've always just kind of been that way.
I hear you.
I swear I'm fun. I just like to have fun at home.
Yeah, low key. So that being said, what would be your ideal girls' night in? With your best girlfriends?
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy one because I love just a cheese plate, some bottles of wine, just hanging out at home. I don't know, just movies, just the quintessential girls' night or a weekend away. I love doing that, going to Ojai, getting massages, all of that. I can't wait to do all of that kind of stuff again with girlfriends, guys. That's going to be one of the first things I want to do is just a fun weekend away with friends. I just miss that actual connection. I know we all do, but
totally hear you.
Oh yeah. Well, we absolutely love your character Gina on Full House and Fuller House. Can you tell us, Gia? Did I say it wrong again?
Gia, yeah.
All right, let me take it back. So we absolutely love your character Gia on Fuller House and Full House. So can you tell us a little bit about how you originally got that role and what the audition process was like? And do you remember who you called first when you booked that role?
Yeah, it's funny. Out of all the auditions I've gone on in my life, that's one that I remember very clearly because I was a huge fan of the show, massive fan. Because I think I was in like 7th grade, so it was at the height of Full House being just a very popular show. And I went on the audition and I did the scene, and the casting director was like, "That was great, but you have such a sweet face, and we really want Gia to be like this tough character. So we're not going to bring you back." And I was just so heartbroken. I just did not accept that answer. So I said to her, can you please bring me back? Like, give me the opportunity to come back. I'll be tough. I'll create this character exactly the way you want her to be. And so I don't know how she gave me this opportunity to come back, but she did. And I went to the Salvation Army with my mom, and I got like that, denim cutoff vest that I actually wound up wearing on the show for her first episode. And I got like Doc Marten boots, and I just had like a total bitchy attitude when I came in. And that was it. I just came back like a different person. And for some reason, I think at 12, you have like more confidence to just kind of like go for it. And I went for it, and it worked out. And I think, who's that first one? I probably called my dad because my mom was with me. So I'm sure we got in the car and called my dad.
Uh-huh.
Oh, nice. That sounds like
Yeah.
it's just meant to be. And sometimes it's, like the times where you're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to get this is like when you least expect it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's also, something to be said for just like really going for something. And if you really want it, you go after it, and sometimes it works out in your favor.
Yeah, that's a great attitude to have. And then what was that experience like going back a second time to Fuller House? And who have you stayed in touch with out of the cast the most?
Yeah, so going back was really surreal. It was really exciting. I remember that I think they had done, did I go back their second season? Yeah, I think they did an entire full season, and I didn't go back. And I remember being like so sad that I wasn't on the first season. I'm like, I hope they bring me back. I had such FOMO. I really wanted to be a part of the show. And the creator had told like my agent or manager, like, if we go a second season, don't worry, Gia's going to be a part of it. We have a whole storyline for her. So I was just like praying that they got a second season, and they did. And it was just so crazy because it was the same stage and, same studio lot and all of that good stuff. So it just was surreal and so great. And every single person on that show is lovely. I couldn't think a bad thought about anybody. I didn't really keep in contact with anybody because, at that age, first of all, there was no cell phones back in that era. We didn't say, I'll text you. And also we all had our moms with us. So they were kind of more the communicators. I ran into Jodie Sweetin a few times over the years at auditions, and same with Candace. I saw her from time to time, but yeah, nobody I saw regularly.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm sad that it's over. Be back.
I know. We were sad too. It kind of ended, just a little prematurely, I think, but it happened.
Yeah. So what other projects do you have coming up? Anything that you can tell us about?
Yeah, I'm actually prepping right now. I'm about to start a movie that I'm directing. I'm doing it right now. We officially start shooting on February 22nd. It's a movie for Lifetime, a Christmas movie. And then after that, I go into another movie that I'm directing, a movie called Rose All Day, about 7 friends and how their relationship over time, they get together every summer for kind of like their annual get together as friends, where they just get together and, have like a long day of drinking and, reminiscing about their friendships. And they kind of over the years realize they probably wouldn't be friends anymore if they met at this particular time in their lives, and just how friends grow apart. And sometimes one will go off and have a baby, and one will get married, and some of them have different political views, and just how as we get older, we grow out of our friendships.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is, but it happens.
Yeah. They're both for Lifetime, you said, or they're separate?
No, just the first one. Yeah.
Okay. So our next section is Girl Talk, and this is anything you feel comfortable talking about. We want to ask you about a challenge that you've overcome in your life, and what you learned from that experience, and what advice you would give to somebody else.
Okay, a challenge that I have overcome in my life. I mean, I feel like there's quite a bit of them. Trying to think, like, can you give me an example of like one specific that people have given, like?
Sure. So like some people have talked about being bullied and how that like helped them like become confident later or see their self-worth. So it's just something you've experienced in your life where you feel like you evolved like as a person and you learned something about yourself and it brought like a new level of awareness in your life for you.
Yeah, I think for me, I really grew up, and I don't know how this happened to me because I don't think my parents had anything to do with it. I don't even know if society had anything to do with it. I think it was just something I brought upon myself. I was really critical and had a lot of, standards that I put upon myself that really held me back. I have always been a perfectionist. I have always been extremely type A. I still am. I'm not saying that's something I've overcome, but it's a really, really hard thing to do once you have kids. So I have two daughters. So I think something that I've really overcome is a lot of like negative self-talk that I put upon myself all the time. When you look in the mirror and you're just like, oh, I look, fat in these jeans, or I don't even want to say that word out loud because they're in the next room. So I think a lot of that stuff I really have been able to heal through my children, because I don't want them to feel like they have to be on a diet. I don't want them to feel like they can't eat X, Y, and Z or look in the mirror and like not love who they see. So I think that's something that with having children and especially girls that I'm proud that I've overcome a lot of negative self-talk and a lot of things that I've, just negativity that I gave to myself. Like I said, I don't really feel like anyone, gave that to me. It was just really stuff that I felt like I had to live up to. And being a mom, I just knew that that wasn't going to work anymore.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a journey and realizing that the way we talk to ourselves sometimes is just like, I would never talk to my friend that way. Why am I speaking to myself that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was actually advice somebody had given me once, to treat yourself like you treat your friends. And even when it's something so silly as like exercising, I think it was in like a Rachel Hollis book or something. She said, if you're going to exercise, like let's say you tell yourself tomorrow, I'm going to go to the gym, don't flake on yourself. Would you flake on your friend? You should always make commitments to yourself in the same way you would make commitments to a friend. And that's the same thing as saying, I'm not going to talk negatively to myself because I wouldn't do that to a girlfriend. So I think if you always have that mindset of, would I talk to my best friend like this? Why would I talk to myself like that? I think that's a really, kind of a great thing to, pass down to your kids or your friends or whoever's asking you for advice on something like this.
Definitely. And that example about like the flake, that's such a great example. Like you wouldn't flake on your friend, like why flake on yourself?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah.
So to kind of build on that, what is the mantra that you live by daily?
I have a mantra, and listen, 2020 is a hard year for all of us, but I had like kind of just like an exponentially hard year. Not that mine was harder than anybody, but I just recently lost my dad. And then before that, I lost my dog, who was my dog for 17 years. So I felt like this year I just was like the year of loss for me. And one day while I did a lot of traveling, even in a pandemic, because my dad lived in San Francisco. So I was driving a lot to go to see him because I knew I wasn't going to be able to see him, forever for a while. And one day in my mind, this quote, "The only way out is through," came into my head. And I knew I didn't make it up. So I Googled it. It's Robert Frost. And that became my mantra. And it still is. So I kept telling myself, I would be sitting there in the car, like so frustrated, like, why is this happening during this time? Like, why am I experiencing this? This is like already so hard for all of us, what we're going through. And I'm like this extra layer of like torture, and like loss and just really hard, And I kept saying that to myself, the only way out is through, the only way out is through, the only way out is through. And I say it all the time. And it's such a great, and a friend of mine told me that when she had her baby, she had her baby naturally, no drugs. I'm like, good for you. She said that the doula told her the only way out is through. And when she told me that, I got chills. I was like, no, really? That's what I was telling myself this whole time. So anyway, that is my mantra for life. I want to get a tattoo, but it's too long. But
Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss and your dad and your dog.
thank you so much.
So difficult, but you sharing that is like so beautiful. What you just said and how it got you through, and you should definitely get it tattooed when COVID is over.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know. I want to figure out something, some sort of something to have his memory on me, but figuring it out.
Well, we have a few fun, light questions to wrap it up, so hopefully we can make you laugh.
Okay.
I know we got a little deep. So let's see where I'm losing my mind. Okay. Let's see. Funniest date story or funniest pickup line? So this could be like your husband did something or like just a story that you remember somebody using on you.
A date? I went on a date with a guy. I mean, I've been with my husband for a very long time, but I remember I went on a date with a guy, and the waiter like brought bread over to the table, and this was at a pretty like fancy restaurant in LA, and the bread basket came down, and like we each had some bread, and like when they come back with like the second basket of bread, and the guy was like, please, no more bread, and he like took the bread away, but he was like almost insinuating like I couldn't have any more bread, and I was just like, this is never going to work out. Like, you're taking bread away. Like, he was, I did it in like a comical way. I'm like, oh yeah, you and I are never going to be, this is never going to work out. No more bread. No, I need a lot of bread if we're going to be together.
Yeah, that's bold. Trying to come between a girl.
Yeah,
and
I was like, we're going to call this quits right now before this goes any further, because we're getting pizza after this.
I applaud that. Oh, what is the last thing that you Googled?
Oh, the last thing that I Googled. Let's see, I'm right in front of my computer right now. Yeah, how do you tell? What is this? Oh, I know what it was. I was actually looking up to see what Howard Stern's book was called, because somebody was asking. This whole interview is about Howard Stern, you guys. I couldn't remember what his last book was called. I knew that I had read his book that came out like a year ago, but I'm like, what was the name of his book? And I couldn't remember it. But anyway, that's it. That's what it was.
That's so fun. Howard Stern, I hope you're watching.
It's all about Howard Stern.
So I almost called you Gia. Marla, what
Happened.
What is rumor you've heard about yourself?
Oh my goodness, rumor. I don't know if I've heard many rumors. Maybe I should Google some rumors about me. I don't know. I don't think I hear a lot of rumors. I do think people get me like mixed up, not with my character names, but a lot of times people like will confuse me. When we used to leave our houses, people used to confuse me for other actors all the time. That's like the main thing that I think always happens to me.
Who did people think you look like?
Not like anyone, like people don't come up to me and they're like, oh, are you so and so? But they'll always recognize me from other things. They're like, oh, I really loved you in like such and such, and I always have. It's so awkward. I'm like, oh, I wasn't in that, and then they'll name like 5 other things. They'll name like five other things that I wasn't in, and I'm like, I wasn't in that either. And then we played this like really fun game, and then I finally have to just like start naming projects, and they haven't heard about those either. And sometimes it just will go on for days. Yeah, that tends to be what happens.
Oh my god. How embarrassing for them.
I know.
Okay, so who was the first famous person you met in the industry?
First famous person. I would say I did a movie. I was an extra in a movie called So I Married an Axe Murderer. I don't know if you guys ever caught that one. And they filmed it in San Francisco, where I grew up, on Alcatraz. And so they were looking for extras, which naturally I was like, I will be in that movie. And Mike Myers and Phil Hartman were in it. And I was in a scene with them. And I just remember being so starstruck. I was just like, oh my gosh, because I loved SNL. So yeah, I would say Phil Hartman and Mike Myers were the first celebrities that I met. And it was like a really big deal. And I had their autographs framed in my bedroom for like years growing up. I don't know where that is now. I'm sure my mom still has it somewhere, but it was a very exciting day.
That's awesome. I remember often being like Mike Myers hours.
Yeah, exactly.
It was groovy, baby.
Yeah.
Just to wrap it up, we asked this question. It's always our closing question, which is never have I ever, and you complete the sentence. So what have you never done?
Oh my gosh. Never have I ever. How many people go, never have I ever lied? I've never told a lie, ever. That's a lie right there. Never have I ever skydived. I've never done that, and I never will.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't know why that just popped into my head.
The legs. I was like, ooh.
Let me jump out of a plane. So thank you so much for being here, Marla. It was so much fun talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
Know you or something. Like I feel like I know you.
Yeah, this was so great, you guys. Sorry to bring it down. I didn't mean to go dark there for a second.
No, not at all. That's what we love about these conversations is that they're so real and authentic and organic, and that's why we decided to do this and ask those questions is because we want to see people just be themselves. Like it's important and just to feel how you feel. So thank you for feeling comfortable to share that with us.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Do you guys always do them on Zoom even before the pandemic, or is this a newer version of it?
It's a newer version, but it's fun because we've got to meet so many awesome people like yourself through Zoom, which we wouldn't if we weren't doing this like on a normal occasion.
Yeah.
Like if we'd be like meeting you on the red carpet at one of your premieres, but we wouldn't be able to have like this much of a personal conversation, which, you know, like it's really nice.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that's probably why it's easier to kind of open up. So I think it's great that you guys are doing it this way.
Yeah, and you're in your own home, like everyone being in their own home, like they're in their own element and you feel safe in your home. Yeah. You're not like a random place, so like you just feel cozy in that.
Random place trying to pose for all the cameras.
Yeah,
exactly. In uncomfortable shoes. I'm in sweatpants. So much better.
Me too. I'm so comfortable right now. Thank you.
How are we ever going to wear clothes again?
I know. I'm dreading it. Like, I never want to wear jeans ever.
Ever. No. Or like dress up. Like even doing makeup is hard enough. I'm like, I just want to like put on my moisturizer. That's it.
Exactly. That's it. All right, guys. It was so good to meet you.
You too. Thank you so much, Marla.
Bye. Have a great week.
You too.
I think this was a really great interview. I really enjoyed talking to her. I love her fixation on Howard Stern.
Oh, can you imagine if they like actually end up quarantining for like 24 hours and like end up becoming best friends or something?
I think that would be hilarious. I honestly thought when she said when I asked her who was the first famous person she met, I was like, she's gonna say Howard Stern.
Oh yeah, and then it was Mike Myers.
Yeah. I can't believe she does get to chill with Howard Stern someday. That'd be
I'm sure she will. And I wonder whatever happened to that guy that she went on a date with and like he wouldn't let her have bread.
That is so bold. Oh my gosh. She's lucky he's lucky she was nice. Like, you know, somebody else would have been like
She seems like she would be classy. Like I can imagine her being like, no, I don't think it's gonna work out, like jokingly, but being really in her head being like, yeah, this is not gonna work out.
Call the waiter back over, be like, actually I would like another bread basket for myself. Just a whole one.
Just for me. So Marla was amazing. I grew up watching Full House. I loved her as Gia and seeing her as in real life, like who she is. It's nice to see that like different element because she's not mean and she was never mean in the show either. She was just more edgy. Like she was more of like a cool girl edgy. I don't get it.
She made Stephanie smoke.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been Beauty, Cocktails, and Girl Talk, and we will see you next time. Bye.